Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of r/malicious compliance. I moved out and took everything. It became apparent to me last week that my roommates were trying to drive me out of the house to get one of their boyfriends in on my lease. When I told them I wanted to stay, they started staging messes around the house so they could yell at me for them, and it all came to a head when they called a meeting with me 2 days ago. One of them had to hold the other back as she screamed at me that she hated me and I was not welcome in the building. They proceeded to tell me that I contributed nothing to the house and wasted their space, and that they had gotten in with the landlady and convinced her to not renew my lease in June. I told them I talked to the landlady, and when they said they were the heads of the house, I laughed and went on with my day. I spoke to the landlady and she acknowledged that they were out of hand, and while she had given them the power to not renew my lease, she also said I could move out whenever and not pay for a single day I wasn't there. So, yesterday when my roommates both left to visit family, they are sisters, I immediately called everyone I knew and vacated the house of everything I owned. I took the curtains, the rugs, all the cat toys, and even the cat tower that I had made with my mom. I took all of their things off my shelves and other furniture and stacked them in the middle of the now nearly empty living room. I snapped pictures of everything, handed the keys to the landlady, and immediately F off. They won't be back to the house until tomorrow. I blocked them on everything so I won't get any angry messages, but I'm sure their faces will be priceless when they come home to a half-empty house with hundreds of dollars in storage and furniture gone. So much for me not contributing anything to the house. Now I actually don't. They also have to find someone else to take up the lease till boyfriend can move in when June comes around, or they have to pick up my rent. Feels pretty good. Next story. Yell at me in front of a customer? Fine. Everyone gets 18 ounces of free coffee. This was a while ago and I have since quit this job. I used to work at a diner on the weekends. To-go coffees are served in styrofoam cups and only come in one size, 12 ounces. A trucker came in for breakfast and he asked for a big coffee to go. Again, they only come in one size. So I sold him a 12-ounce coffee and gave him his cup. Usually we leave space in case people want to add cream, but I filled his up all the way. Then my manager pulls me aside in front of him and reprimands me for not giving him a big coffee like he asked for. All while he's nodding and smiling. When I asked her what she would like me to do because we only have coffee cups in one size, she tells me I should have known that I was supposed to use a styrofoam soft drink cup instead. Those cups are 30 ounces. In my entire time working there, we have never done that. There is no option in the register to charge someone for a 30-ounce coffee. But the customer was upset, so she made up a non-existent rule on the spot and belittled me to make him happy. She threw me under the bus. You'd be surprised how many customers ask for big, large, jumbo, huge, enough to fill a 10-gallon coffees every day. It's usually a joke followed by some comment about them being tired. They aren't really asking about coffee cup size. They're just trying to make conversation and use silly words. So for the next several months I proceeded to give every single person who made a comment about coffee size a 30-ounce coffee and charged them for a 12 ounces. That coffee maker was constantly going. I mean constantly. We were going through bags of coffee like crazy. Almost as if we were selling nearly 3 times as much without making more profit from it. Next story. Teacher said if you don't tell me who walked in during prayer you will all be sent to the principal's office. I was reading through this sub and was immediately brought back to senior year of high school. I went to a Catholic school and we took a religion course every year. My senior year it was social justice. Our teacher, we'll call her P, was the absolute worst. She was brand new, extremely homophobic, and basically hated anyone who wasn't extremely Catholic. Every morning, we had morning prayer, pledge of allegiance, and announcements before the official start of class. P would purposely close the classroom doors and lock them so anyone who came in after prayer started would have to stand in the hallway until morning announcements are over. On this particular morning, my friend B was speaking to a teacher before first period social justice. He made it right at the bell, but P had already locked the doors. Prayer began and one of our classmates snuck over to the door and let B in. We thought all was well until announcements ended and P starts screaming at us to tell her who was late. None of us say a peep because snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. P gets angrier and says, "If you don't tell me who walked in during prayer, you will all go get late slips from the principal." Our entire class, about 20 kids, looked at each other and decided to comply. We all walked downstairs and into the lobby of our school where the principal and vice president offices were. Our vice president took one look at us and said, "What the hell are you all doing here?" We told him P sent us all there to get late slips because we let B in during prayer. P considers that late, and none of us wanted to snitch. Plus, B was on time to school and would have been in the classroom had P not locked the doors before the bell. He paused and looked at us all for a bit, chuckled, and said, "Get back to class." Needless to say, that was P's first and last year teaching there. Next story. Won't pay allowances, then fly me home. I once built electrical substations in Australia. These jobs were mostly away from home and included some hefty tax-free allowances. We would typically be there for a short amount of time and have to pay short-term accommodation costs, which were high, in a motel and eat in restaurants/get takeaway as there were no kitchens. The rate was $130 a day, $910 a week. And the incentive was that you could keep what you don't spend. Enter project manager. You're only working 5 days a week, so you only get 5 days of allowances. Okay, project manager, then what happens on weekends or I'm still in a motel 7 hours drive from home? Not my problem. I ring head office in front of project manager and say I'm going to need taxi to the airport on Friday, flights and taxi home in city, and then a return journey on Monday, which means I should get to site lunchtime on Monday. Project manager gets pissed and tries to have his cake and eat it. Head office asks project manager what the F he's thinking is standard procedure is to pay weekends and maximize time on site. Project manager did not want to pay OT. Long story short is I get 7 days allowance, meet a mature age apprentice on site and offer to pay half his and girlfriend's rent, $200 a week. They both don't get paid much, so I also buy half groceries. Result is cheap rent, cheap well-prepared meals, and somewhere to chill on when not working. Special bonus story. The site was actually 2 sites and I was running the bigger one as it was less complex and the foreman ran the other one. Every Saturday we would collect a few dollars each and put on a barbecue at each location. Foreman was tight as F and used to buy cheap meat and buns for his side. I used to reach into my own pocket to make up the difference and get the apprentice to buy top quality filet and nice fresh bakery buns, avocado, and all the trimmings. Everyone would then come back to big site, mine, for the Saturday safety meeting. Other site team would see leftover fillets, smashed avocado spread, and 3x drinks and ice. All the big site guys are sitting straining under their 2x filet burgers and sodas. Cue other foremen getting crap for buying cheap meat and no salad and sauces. Aw, good times. Seriously, that site was stressful as crap. These small things gave the team a laugh and took the pressure off. Next story. Unsuitable. Some background, I'm in Australia. I'm currently a 32-year-old male and this occurred this year. I used to do admin work in defense and during that time I got rather qualified and experienced. Specifically in people management and training people. I then left the uniform for various reasons, including depression caused by my time there. I got a new job and intentionally got a position way below my capabilities so I could focus on my mental health while still working. It was a hotline for a government assistance program. This position was good for about 4 years. Over that time I started using some of my skills more and built up my confidence again. I also was acting in higher positions almost the entire time. Initiating incident, so after all the COVID lockdowns finally finished there was a permanent spot in a higher position available. By this time I was the longest serving person remaining in the team and I was the most qualified. I knew they planned on getting the incumbent to do 2 roles, both of which I knew thoroughly. Went through the interview process, answered all the questions, explained how I could do the role immediately without training, etc. Had to wait a few weeks to find out the result since it's still government and they don't do these things super fast. Then I got told that I was found not suitable. I was floored. I asked for an explanation and all I was told was it was a very competitive round. When I asked what I could have done to be more competitive, I got the same answer. To make things worse, they asked me to train the guy who got the role. Immediately I brought up the duty statement which had the list of tasks for my role. Remember, it's super easy, basically just answer the phone and reply to emails. I also got out the public service level expectations and highlighted the appropriate bits for my level. Q malicious compliance. Since I wasn't suitable to work at higher levels, I immediately stopped all work that wasn't at my level or in my job description. To say this put a dent into the extra work I was doing would be an understatement. I used to help out management with sorting out interpersonal disputes, I used to run a bunch of reports to find and sort out work that was missed, and I used to help the other teams do their work. So at this point my days became super easy. I would do about 10% of what I used to, as that 10% was my actual job. The training I was doing was directing the guy to the procedures, and if he had questions, directing him to ask a supervisor. It was about a week of this before management noticed the training wasn't very in-depth. One by one they asked me what was going on. Our structure had 6 supervisors at the time. Each and every time I said the same thing. Unfortunately, I was found unsuitable for the role, so I can't teach someone how to do it. To say they were pissed would also be an understatement. But they tried to stay professional. They then started questioning why I stopped doing all the extra work that I had been doing for years. I directed their attention to my duty statement and asked where it lists that work. They said the extra duties as directed. I then asked how that aligns with the level expectations, which are surprisingly clear and helpful. At this point most stopped trying. During all this sudden free time I started to search for a new job. It only took 2 weeks to go for interviews, be found suitable and get a new job. Apparently, I'm incredibly competitive at this level. Who knew? The fallout: the new job is significantly easier, at the level I was unsuitable for, and gives me much more money than they were offering. Additionally, I have kept in touch with some people there. The management are floundering as interpersonal problems are cropping up, the team can't keep up with the workload, and at least 3 more people have gotten new jobs, with at least 2 looking for other employment, leaving 1 person left in the hotline team that will know what they're doing. It's a shame really, because I liked that program and probably would have stayed for a long time. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.